Hello and welcome to another Focus edition. This time around, we are focusing on Green Power Namibia. I am joined by Ogeta Greg, the editor, the man behind this Focus edition. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, Glenora. Thank you very much.
As always, congratulations are on the way. I'm always impressed with your work.
Oh, thank you.
All your Focus editions, they're very informative and also just gives a broader scope on the industry that you're focusing on.
Yes.
And in this edition, we are taking a look at green power from the Namibian context. And obviously, there's a lot of gems. Just for the average Namibian, it's not just for somebody who's directly linked to the industry. I like that this is a Focus edition that anybody can read and get information on. And also maybe you can be an industry player if you would want to. But before we get into the Focus edition, I understand that you are also coming from the Global African Hydrogen Summit,
Yes.
which is happening today. It opened officially today, and I think it's running till tomorrow. How was that like?
It's very exciting. There's a lot of information, lots of delegates from all over the world, and especially from all over Africa in Namibia. Amongst the various stalls that I visited for the exhibition part was the European Union stall. Team Europe is very eager to partner with Namibia to develop a green hydrogen industry in Namibia, to feed them, because as the deputy head of the European delegation to Namibia explained to me that they are trying to move towards renewable and clean energy in Europe, and they've had a lot of progress. But the last stretch is always the most difficult. They call it the diminishing returns. So they need Namibian help in order to secure inputs which will help decarbonize the more difficult industries like global shipping and steel. And in terms of those, we have companies that are developing in Namibia, specifically High Iron, which is busy decarbonizing or let me say manufacturing iron from iron ore, but using hydrogen as fuel so that they don't need to use carbon-based fuels, so that it doesn't add to the greenhouse effects and the whole global warming, which we are all trying to combat. And then we've also got Clenergy, which is a partnership between ONL from Namibia and CNB Tech from Belgium, which is looking to use green hydrogen to manufacture ammonia, which will be used to fuel ships, ammonia-driven ships, and in that way decarbonize the shipping industry internationally. And we are strategically located as Namibia, and specifically the port of Walvis Bay, so that ships that are coming around the tip of Africa can then stop there and refuel with this clean fuel and then continue their journey onto their destinations.
Yeah, onto that, I know a lot of people have asked, what exactly does it mean when we talk about green power or green energy?
Yes.
And a lot of people, myself included, I do understand bits of it, but I'm not so sure I understand the full scope of it.
Yes.
Could you just inform us, what do we mean when we say green energy or green power?
The descriptive use of the word green implies that it's not a carbon-based energy source, because carbon-based energy sources such as oil, fuel, petrol, diesel, they all release these carbon emissions, which add to global warming and add to climate change. So we are looking at renewable energy sources. Specifically, Namibia has made a lot of progress in terms of solar. We've got more and more solar plants going up all the time. There's also wind as a renewable energy source. We've got, of course, the big project down in Lüderitz, the DS wind farm, which is gaining traction. Just recently, more turbine blades have been delivered there, so we can expect more announcements any day now, imminently. But also in terms of hydrogen. Now, hydrogen has been produced worldwide for many years, many years. But to produce hydrogen, green hydrogen, it implies that you are splitting the water molecules, because we get our hydrogen from water molecules. Water is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen.
Yes.
Right? So you split water to produce then hydrogen and oxygen. And traditionally you would use electricity to do that, but your electricity would come from coal-fired electricity plants. Now in our case, we are using solar and wind to produce the electricity. We are desalinating seawater, of which there is plenty, and we use that desalinated water and we split it to create green hydrogen and oxygen.
So that's why it's called the green hydrogen, because the process in terms of creating it or getting it is green, because we are using green energy in terms of just solar
hydrogen
power.
itself is see-through, so it's got no color.
Yes.
But it's about how you produce your hydrogen.
Yes, I love that. How are we planning to transport the green hydrogen to the rest of the world? How's that process like?
Hydrogen in itself is quite a volatile substance, so transporting hydrogen molecules is very difficult. But that's why we are looking to create ammonia, which is when you take the hydrogen and you add nitrogen to it. Nitrogen we also source from the air, because it is available just in the atmosphere. And we then combine the hydrogen and the nitrogen to create ammonia. And ammonia is a much more stable element, which you can pipe, or you can put in a tanker and truck it, or you can ship it.
I definitely love that Namibia is becoming the darling of the world when it comes to green power.
Yes.
Getting into this focus edition, I just want to take a look first at your editor's note. I always love to read your editor's notes, just to see your headspace and your opinion on the industry. And you do mention here the dream of Namibia becoming a source of clean green energy to power development in Africa and help relieve continent-wide energy poverty is becoming a reality. This year has been marked by significant milestones in regards to this quest, with you mentioned Hyron achieving Namibia's first commercial production of green hydrogen.
Yes.
This is progress.
Yes, definitely.
And there was skepticism around green hydrogen,
yes, even
particularly. So people were like, how is this possible? Is it just a pipe dream?
You mentioned the skeptics. Our president was also amongst the skeptics, and that's why the picture that we have on the front page, I think, is so significant, because that is our first female president, Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, pressing the green button at High Iron to initiate the production of our first commercial green hydrogen, which is there used to reduce, that's the word I was looking for earlier, to reduce iron from iron ore so that you get green iron.
Yes.
And the ambition there is eventually to use that iron to create steel, which will then be green steel, and with that green steel to feed the global steel industry, so as to decarbonize that industry as well.
So what are some of the words that you have for the skeptics out there that are like, this is not possible?
It's difficult. So the progress has not been as fast as was initially expected, but it is possible, and we are doing it. So those skeptics, they should either change their minds and join us so that they can be in line to enjoy the fruits of this labor, or they can just sit and watch as we pass them by.
Yes, sit on the sidelines. Before we go for a commercial break, I want us to just quickly look at page 4, where you are also looking at the Olof Hansen hydrogen project.
Yes. That project is looking to desalinate a ton of seawater for ammonia production, and then to ship or pipe that ammonia to Walvis Bay. So they will desalinate near Walvis Bay, pipe it to their establishment, which is about 58 kilometers out of Walvis Bay, and then pipe the ammonia back to Walvis Bay, which is why we've got that big picture of those pipes. Although that picture was generated by Hyphen, which is our mega gigawatt scale project deep in the south. Neither of these projects are yet at this level. They are still in the pipeline, as to say, because they have not started building yet. but both are progressing in terms of environmental impact studies. Hyphen in particular is already at the design of the engineering and the specific parts of the project that is going to be built. But Elof Hansen has also made significant progress, and in fact the boss of Elof Hansen, the person who is in charge of Mr. Saki Nuyoma, who is their country representative, is in Windhoek today, and I was watching him give or take part in a panel discussion just an hour ago at the Global Africa Hydrogen Summit.
I'm guessing the Global Africa Hydrogen Summit is the place to be today and tomorrow. So if you have some time, do make your way there. I believe it's at the Mercure Hotel, right?
It is at the Mercure Hotel, which their conference venue is now called the Windhoek International Conference Center. So it's worthwhile to check it out.
All right, we are still in conversation with Ogeto, but first we are going for a quick commercial break.
Solar lighting solutions. Becker Engineering. View our catalog now.
Excel Dynamic Solutions. Not sure if your business is causing environmental harm? Call us for environmental assessment and performance auditing of your business activities. Contact info@eadsnamibia.com. Nine branches across Southern Africa. Think solar, think Popkowitz, Megatech.
PowerBat, your solar EPC specialist in Namibia. Through our Rentec brand, we offer turnkey solar EPC solutions. With more than 287 made WRs in solar project management, installation, O&M, and asset management, we have the expertise to provide you with a tailor-made solar solution. Visit rentec.co.za. Take back your power today. Contact us now.
We are still in conversation with Ogeto, the editor of this wonderful edition of the Focus called Green Power Namibia. Now, taking a look in the Focus, going to page 6, and I actually love this. We are taking a look at Powerline Africa, which is built through the dunes. And you have a little line there that says Powerline Africa employs locals from settlements near their work sites to supplement the roughly 100 highly motivated permanent workforce. Of course, we'll get into the article itself, but I love that Powerline has that initiative wherever they are working,
yes,
that they employ directly in the surrounding areas. And that also gives people that are living in the settlements around there an opportunity to have a work or source of income.
yes.
And yeah, kudos to them, but it's also 100% Namibian owned.
Yes, but it's not limited to Namibia, as I learned from Chief Executive Officer Francois Kumbi. It started in Namibia, and over close to 50 years, they grew and grew and grew, and eventually got to a point where they had to look beyond borders for projects, and they've been in Zambia, and they've been all over Southern Africa putting up power lines. And then came back to Namibia with that skill, that insight, that knowledge, and is applying those abilities here locally, but also in South Africa and continuing abroad. So wherever they go, they employ people from local villages and towns to supplement their own workforce. So they don't take all of their own people to wherever the project is. Of course, their people have the skills and the experience, so they have to lead these temporary employees, but they bring that temporary employment to wherever they go.
Yes.
And give those people there in different countries, in different regions, in different little towns, an opportunity to build skills which they can then apply for themselves even after Powerline has left. I mean, learning how to work with electricity is often in demand. And once you've been exposed and with the training that you get on the job, you can then empower yourself. Powerline Africa, what it's doing in Namibia at the moment and what that article is about is strengthening the grid. We were talking earlier about progress that's being made in terms of renewable energy in Namibia. Now, especially with solar power, our progress has been so fast that we are currently experiencing a bit of a bottleneck in terms of new solar plants because our grid is not designed to wheel, that's the phrase they use, but it's basically to transfer the power from inside Namibia to different parts. It's actually designed to transfer power from outside Namibia, from South Africa in particular, to our different settlements. But now we are generating power all over the country, and we need to strengthen the grid because one of our ambitions as a country is to be able to export that green power to the rest of the region and to the rest of Africa. And Powerline Africa is doing that specifically. And the subheading there, Powerline Africa Builds Through the Dunes, is about a project that they just finished it quite a few weeks ago, building through the southern Namib Desert and connecting Oranjemund to South Africa. If you've been in that part of Namibia, you'll know that those sand dunes are no joke. I mean, even just walking
I know.
a few hundred meters is going to
and to be able to build through that.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's where those
this
beautiful
is
pictures
like
are taken.
kudos to Namibia, man. I think when it comes to the energy sector, from what I've heard so far, of course I stand to be corrected, but I think we are, making progressive strides in the right direction. And I love that everything is mainly focused on how can we make this green.
Yes.
And we are helping contribute not only to the continent, but hopefully at a global scale.
Yes.
In terms of just people resourcing green energy. You have quite a few articles, and we don't have a lot of time to go through everything. That's why you need to get your hands on these. Focus edition, and you can get it at Mercure Hotel at the Global Africa Hydrogen Summit. That's on today and also tomorrow at Mercure Hotel, so you had it here.
And then also it was included in all of our newspapers yesterday, which was the 9th of September. So if you get yourself a copy from the 9th of September, you will find the Focus edition inside. That's Namibian Sun, Republican, and the Allgemeine Zeitung.
Yes, I love this article on page 10, which is Hyphen Science with CC7, de-risking Namibia's first gigawatt hydrogen project.
Yes, that's our big one, our first big one.
Yes.
And that Hyphen project will be the anchor project for the development of the Southern Development Corridor. We plan to have 3 of these hydrogen production valleys, one in the south, one in the central Namibia, and then one in the north-west.
Where will it be in central Namibia, if I can ask?
It'll probably be this side of Arandis. You see
I was thinking that as well.
That area.
Yes.
In fact, if you look at the previous page 7, the Zero project is also based just there near Arandis, because the desert there has exceptional sunlight, but there are also spots with incredible wind. And if you look at the story, one of the main stories that I did, which starts on page 14 about the Daures Green Hydrogen Village, that spot, which is really in the middle of nowhere, was picked specifically because of the quality of the sunshine and the wind, which will allow for production of green energy night and day. Because over there, the sun shines all day with a vengeance, and at night, the wind blows.
Wow, and you would think that these are harsh conditions.
They
You
are
know what
harsh,
I mean?
they
But
are-
the fact that it can be turned into something positive.
They are useful.
Yes, they're very useful because I know I've met people who are like, oh, the Namibian sun is so unforgiving, it burns you the whole day. But the fact that something positive can come out from the fact that people talk about how it's very hot here. We also have a very dry climate,
Yes.
but that can also be in service of where the world is moving into. So something that can be seen as negative is actually, you know, a positive
Very
thing.
positive.
Very
Very
positive
positive.
thing. I love that there's so many innovative ways that we're using green energy.
Yes.
For instance, the Dowris project, we are farming there.
Yes, yes. In the middle of the desert, we produce delicious cucumbers and tomatoes and a whole host
Yes.
of things, which is already being sold at the coast in supermarkets and shops there. And they are looking at breaking into the central Namibian market to be able to sell here. In fact, I'm expecting an announcement about their logo, which will be printed on all of their packaging so that we can easily recognize where this
Buy local, buy Namibia.
Yeah,
I
vegetables
love
are
that.
coming
I love
from.
that because we have been, just as the youth in general, just talking about how most of what we consume is exported.
Yeah.
Be it your greens, be it what have you. So the fact that now we are starting to, you know, close those gaps.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we're using green hydrogen. I mean, kudos to Namibia, man. I'm proud to be Namibian.
The heading for the article that I have on page 14, which is about the Dowris Green Hydrogen Village, is Green R&D at Dowris. R&D being research and development. Now, research and development is absolutely essential if you are going to take technology from elsewhere in the world and apply it locally. Because obviously our local situation is different. You can't just copy and paste. You need to adapt and you need to adopt and you need to research so that you're not just sucking solutions out of your thumb, which at the end of the day don't work.
Yeah.
And you need to develop those solutions so that you can apply them and so that you can scale them. Once you figure out what works, you must be able to figure out how to do it faster, bigger, better. That's the only way in which you can achieve economies of scale and your...
I think that leads us into your next article, which is on page 19, right?
Yes.
Skills drive to power green hydrogen boom. So I do see that there is more initiatives from the government to encourage young graduates or students to go into fields that are either servicing the green hydrogen or just, you know, how they can be engineers in
Yes.
this industry and what have you. Yeah, and you're just talking now that we want to, you know, gain the skill set so that we can produce this
Yes.
at a much faster rate and, you know, export it at a much faster rate as well.
Yes. Our Vice President, Lucia Witbooi, is the patron of the Youth for Green Hydrogen Scholarship Program. That program has already had 3 rounds of assigning scholarships to young Namibians. And they found, through looking at who the beneficiaries were, that not enough of our citizens from the south, that's now Hardap region and Karas region, have been beneficiaries. So the latest round of scholarships specifically target young people from those regions. Now, those regions are also where a lot of the conditions, the solar and the wind, is located, which we will then employ to create this green energy. So it's essential for our development as a nation to include those young people and provide them with the skills to take advantage of those opportunities. And it's another example of how we are being what's the word I'm looking for? Purposeful, or
Yeah, also contributing to the national agenda, I
Yes,
would say.
yes.
And I'm very, like I said, I'm always impressed with all your focus editions, and I'm also just super impressed with just the strides that Namibia has made in terms of just green hydrogen or green energy production throughout the different parts of the country. And I think if anyone out there is interested in getting into, you know, the industry, there's obviously different levels that you can join at.
Yes.
You can even cater to the industry.
Yes.
You can, you know, you don't need to be directly involved. So I would encourage young Namibians, myself included, to just, you know, try to read up on it. figure out how I can be an active player in the national agenda to be, you know, a global green energy producer.
Yes,
So
you need to inform yourself, to empower yourself, so you can include yourself.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With that, we've come to the end of this Focus edition. We hope to have left you a little bit more inspired and informed.